With Presiding Commissioner Darrell Skiles, normally heard at 8:30 in the morning. We're a little bit late today.
A little late, but that's okay.
Yeah, and we're recording this one a little bit day early. We are doing this for FFA students on FFA Day. And Darrell, we thank you for accommodating us. And he's in a day early, but we're able to get the information to you that we need.
Very, very welcome. Yeah, we are recording this on Thursday afternoon. As you all are listening to this, we recorded this yesterday. But earlier this morning, Thursday morning, I did attend the FFA Supporter Appreciation Breakfast at the VOAG building. And the VOAG and FFA have a special place in my heart, always will have. And, our very own Bob Parsons here at the radio station, retired VOAG teacher. He was my VOAG teacher, along with the late, great B. Oscar Brown. And I really treasure those days that I spent in VOAG and FFA. And there's been folks, I know the late Clifford Jadwin, previously county sheriff, previously chief of police here for Salem, commented, and other people in law enforcement have kind of said along the same thing. They said, then you never see kids that are very real active in FFA or 4-H that end up in the police department, in the police station, for some reason, in trouble. And
they're too busy to get in trouble.
They're too busy, that's right. But they just do a really good job of teaching kids responsibility and citizenship and how to act and how to conduct yourself, and just proving leadership, improving their leadership skills. And they teach you how to run a meeting correctly, conduct meetings, and how business should be conducted and stuff. And I was president of our local FFA when I was in high school, way back in the 75 to 76.
Giving away that age, Darrell.
Previous commissioner Bobby Simpson, he was president of our FFA. Congressman Jason Smith, I think Jason was president of our FFA. And, there's been a long line of us. All three of us commissioners at the courthouse, Gary Larson, Wes Mowbray, and I, we all were very active in FFA. And it's just a really, really fantastic program and complimentary for our community.
Well, it teaches you so much from, as you mentioned, organization skills, duties, tasks that you have to do, record keeping, learning the creed. It's a memory thing as well. But, it all gives you have challenges. And then you have your contest teams where you compete against other schools and their FFA chapters. So you have that level of competition, but also that level of local competition just among your own class.
And there are people, you can go to some meetings and things and hear people that are outstanding speakers who will tell you that it terrified them, the thought of getting up and doing any kind of public speaking, and that actually their first experience of doing that was when they ended up in high school and in FFA, and they had to get up in front of a whole group and recite the entire FFA creed, and that's a long several paragraphs. You had to memorize it and recite it. But then, there's just other public speaking contests they have and different things, and I would probably qualify. And I'm not a big fantastic public speaker, of course, or anything, but going into high school, I would not have thought about trying to conduct a meeting and do those things, and I don't really worry about it or think that much about it. At our recent commissioners training, I had to conduct the last day of the session. The president had to leave, and so I conducted that session. We had 300 and some commissioners there in attendance, plus sponsors and things. I got to introduce the governor, and and enjoyed that. And we had a nice short visit. And, you just learn, the FFA really, really, really builds confidence and comfort level in kids in being able to do those type of things. It carries through. It is very beneficial. So my hat's off to the FFA, and I appreciate what they've been doing here this morning. As people listen to this, I know interviews are being held here on KSMO. And Stan, I appreciate you and all of the support that you give FFA and letting them come in and do this, these talks that they're giving about why they're in FFA.
Well, you've never stopped supporting FFA, 4-H, and what the kids do. All the way, at the auction, you're very involved in that. For years, you were out there helping out with the auctioneering of the animals. And it's very important. But I see you out there, and you've also contributed many times of standing over that hot fire and barbecuing up some burgers and things. So, your involvement continues. But I think I will say that about all the commissioners that they have really been involved in the FFA chapters over the years. I want to thank them and tip the caps. Good to have our county back behind those kids as well. That makes them feel pretty good, to
Yep.
know that the county government actually stands behind what they do.
Well, it sure does, and not just us commissioners. I think probably all the office holders we got would echo everything that I'm saying about the importance of FFA and our appreciation for them.
All right, very
So,
good. Well, we appreciate that very much. Well, we've gotten over some pretty bad weather, Darrell. The courthouse was closed a couple times last week due to the bad weather, and then we had President's Day on Monday, and so we had no commissioner meeting that day, and so kind of narrowed down to a schedule of just a couple of meetings we're going to talk about today. But there's a lot of things that happen. Obviously, the road conditions. Let's just really talk quickly. The roads pretty soaked still. Now they're starting to dry out. We've had a great week of sunshine, which has really helped, but they're still pretty much deep inside that rock. They're pretty wet.
Right, it is. When the road beds froze, and then it got cold, and the road beds froze before the sleet and snow came down. Luckily, we didn't get as much as they were predicting. But, when that stuff, and especially sleet, is so hard to remove, but the crews were out all the time trying to plow what they could plow and putting material down on the roads and the slick spots. So, but yeah, now as all that is thawed out, it's kind of trapped, waiting for that to really thaw out the rest of the way so it can go on through. So the crews have been out doing some patch grading in places, putting some material on roads in places that we're getting especially bad. But it's drying out pretty good with the wind and the stuff that we've had. It's dried out a good bit the last day or so. So they're able to get a little more done. Otherwise, it's just a constant battle. This time of year, it's always a constant battle, especially when you get some snow and ice. Then when it finally leaves, it's going to be too muddy to be able to do anything for a while. You can't grade mud and accomplish anything. If you try, you'll just have a bigger mess than what you've done. Sometimes we can put some material down that will help for a while, but basically it's just got to get dried out a little bit, and then they can do some grading and get things back in shape. We know they're muddy in places. There's some potholes developed and stuff, and it's just that time of year that always happens. And so anyway, they're out there working on it and doing what they can.
County has been around checking out culverts. As a matter of fact, this past week, Darrell, there have been a few culverts that have been replaced that either have been damaged or they're crushed or they've got some problems with them. And in other cases where there was some water backing up here, we had all those rains, Darrell, we actually had an instance where a couple of basketballs were clogged in the culvert, but yet they came to commissioner meeting thinking it was a problem with the way the culverts were installed and things of that nature. Once they cleared the basketballs out, water flowed good. So, the thing is, we want to get that message out too. If you've got culverts, over the winter time, debris falls, leaves blow around, and then you get some twigs and stuff. But if the kids are out there and all of a sudden a few toys or basketballs or soccer balls are missing and they end up in the culverts, they can back up in a big hurry, can't they?
That's right. It can create a serious clog. And if you've got a driveway, do what you can to try to keep both ends of that culvert opened up and clean, and look in there periodically and make sure that it is open. And if not, try to get whatever's in there punched out before the heavy rains hit. It creates quite an issue. But that was kind of an odd deal with a couple of basketballs stuffed down in a culvert. And of course, then the water backed up behind it. You couldn't push the basketballs back up in the water. So they finally got them. Broke loose and got them out of there. And then the water problem,
and it was all gone.
Kind of took care of itself. Yeah. So but it's been a challenge. It always is when we have, especially sleet and icy stuff. It's pretty hard to get off compared to just straight snow. But at any rate, the crews were working. I do want to mention, though, Stan, we've had a couple of road vacated road vacancies that we took on. Commissioner Larson this morning, on Thursday morning, we had a hearing to vacate 2 county roads, and both of these were just kind of odd roads. One of them was County Road 2053 out in the Annette area. It was just 1/10 of a mile, and actually what it was a small piece of where the old state highway used to run.
Right.
And years and years and years ago, the state just kind of straightened the highway out a little bit, and the state then abandoned that little stretch of roadway, and it remained then a county road. Then it was turned over to the county, and there was a residence right there on the road, maybe 2 there for a while, but it's been years since anybody's lived on it. And actually the landowner there owns both sides of the road, and really the road serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever to the public or to the county. So we did Commissioner Larson had gone through the entire process. There is a statute that applies on vacating roads, and so we went through the process, got petitions signed by the required number of people, residents in the area, had a hearing, and nobody appeared at the hearing to contest the closing of that road. So that road we voted to close. There was another road, County Road 2283, just north of Salem off of Highway 19. It was about a quarter of a mile, and again, it's kind of an odd deal. This is a dead-end road that just runs entirely up through a man's property and dead ends really at his house. It really is more of a driveway than a road. Not sure what the history is of the road as far as the county ever being a county road, but at any rate, the residents out there that really requested that the road be closed, they gathered the required number of signatures on a petition, brought it in, and we posted that, and again, it's another little section of road that is really of no public benefit or what have you. So we did vote then to approve not closing the road but vacating it. So. Yeah.
The Road and Bridge Department will no longer have to go and maintain that road, and there's a savings there. And then we had another one by Commissioner Wes Mowbray that has asked to create to be also vacated. And again, they have gotten signatures. They've gotten that petition. So as Commissioner Mowbray brought up at the meeting, as you mentioned, this is on Thursday that it was up. He brought that to the attention of the commission, has the signatures. He will then go post the notice in 3 different locations, and then on the 24th at 10 o'clock, that hearing will be held to vacate that road. And that road off the top of my head, Darrell,
County Road 5490.
5490.
And that's part of a road that loops all the way around, and it's about a 1.2 mile stretch of that road. And that road, for a major part of this part where we're closing it, it loops down through where a creek, kind of right down a creek bed. The creek is kind of on one side, then it's on the other side, and then it's on the other side, and very difficult to maintain. But it really doesn't really serve any public purpose or need that we can tell. So at any rate, the notices will be posted. There will be a hearing, 10 a.m. on March the 24th, to make the decision whether to go ahead and close that road then and actually just vacate that portion of that road.
Hard to get creek gravel to stay where it's supposed to stay. When it starts to get rains, it starts to move.
Yeah. So that's it with that. So
yeah, very good. Well, one of the things that I wanted to bring out though was last on Monday. You first off we had a moment of silence for the people in Ukraine after Russia had invaded them, and then you went on to quote that last March the Dent County Commission and Sheriff Bob Wells and the Sheriff's Department did actually sign the Dent County Second Amendment Preservation Act. Darrell, you want to explain a little bit what that is, if you would, for our listeners?
Yeah, and you're right. We did. I asked for a moment of silence on Monday because what's happening over in Ukraine is pretty unprecedented. You got to go back to when Germany invaded Poland, actually, to even have anything that's comparable to what's happening over there. And those people done nothing to provoke such an attack upon them. They presented no. The international community is in an uproar, as it should be, and us as citizens should be in an uproar as well. This is a sovereign nation. Those people pose no threat or danger to the Soviet Union or to the Russia, but at any rate, they've been attacked and are under attack. And so I did ask for a few moments of silence and ask, if people were inclined to please pray for the people of the Ukraine. It's a desperate situation they find themselves in. But what had come to my mind during this time, while those people were begging for help and their own government encouraging every citizen that could make Molotov cocktails and be ready to use them in defense of their country, even gather stones, large stones, and be ready. Their gun laws aren't over there quite as restrictive as some gun laws over in that European region. However, they don't have the freedom with an access to firearms, anything like what we do, and they don't have a Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms like we do. Right. So, last March, on March 22nd of last year, the county commissioners, Commissioner Larson and Mowbray and I, and Dent County Sheriff Bob Wells, we signed the Dent County Second Amendment Preservation Act. And what that does is spells out that basically law-abiding citizens are not going to be subjected to acts against them to deprive them of their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. So it's now framed, and it hangs. A copy of it hangs in the hallway of the courthouse by the commission office door. Representative Copeland has a copy of it in his office, and several other folks, probably some folks listening here maybe. I think there's a copy of it down at Mr. Jim's barber shop, hangs on the wall. I'm very proud that my signature is easy to see on there, along with the other commissioners. And I'm very proud that we were able to, and we put that together with a good bit of legal help from Travis Elliott, Missouri Association of Counties attorney, to get the wording that we wanted to accomplish our purpose, while at the same time not creating some other type of a problem as far as in law enforcement being able to do their job.
Sure.
So we do have that, but it is I really, really hope when people all across this country see and hear what's going on over in Ukraine, that hope that they'll have a little deeper understanding and appreciation for our Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, and really how vital that actually is for us, that Second Amendment right, how vital it is and important for us to even be able to have and enjoy the other freedoms.
Exactly.
Without it, you know, the other rights and things aren't really worth much more than the paper they're printed on if you don't have the means to defend them and keep them, protect them.
That's words well said, because you're absolutely right. How do you back up any kind of rights that you say you have if you have no way of backing them up?
If you can't back it up.
You know, big rock
Protect
is one thing, but a howitzer behind you can make it a bigger noise. And everybody should be able to have the right to their, obviously, free speech, but also to protect their own property.
Absolutely.
And things of that nature. But without that right to bear arms, you may not have that right. Somebody can come and take it away from you, and you have no recourse.
The Second Amendment right is the one that guarantees all the others, hands down. Very simple. Yeah. So anyway, it's heartbreaking though to listen and see what's happening over in over in Europe. And I will just say again, the people of Ukraine need our prayers and support.
They do, and their pride is shining out. But again, it's a very difficult situation that they find themselves in.
And you know, when you think about the children involved in those families and the separation and the terror they're feeling and the horror, it's a pretty horrific situation. But hopefully, people will think about it at least and appreciate and think about how important our Second Amendment rights are. You know, it gets kind of denigrated from time to time, and that really aggravates me. But I was very proud that we got that put together. I commend Sheriff Bob Wells for his willingness and interest and support in putting this amendment together, and he worked on this. I told him we talked a little bit about it, and he worked on getting this put together, done a great job, and the commission was very proud to have it and sign it.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, one thing that did happen is that a few weeks back, Denton County Clerk Angie Curley had a contest with Salem High School art students.
Yeah, pretty cool.
To create new stickers for the I voted sticker that you get when you vote, to be something creative, make it a little bit different. It used to be a little oval with the I voted in it, and that's okay. That's cute and neat and everything, but why not have a contest and see what creation some of our very talented art students can do here in Salem? And again, there were 8 nice submissions for this, and then we finally got a winner that was determined on the 23rd.
And that was, and the name escapes me at this point.
Olivia Wisdom.
Olivia Wisdom. There we go. Yes, yeah. Pretty neat, yeah, that we'll have our own unique I voted sticker here in Denton County. So,
and that'll be for the next 2 years, this year and next year as well,
right,
for all elections. And so if you vote, you're going to see the creative work of Olivia Wisdom.
Right.
And we congratulate Olivia on that. No, she didn't win $100,000. It would have been nice, but she gets the honor of having that on a lot of people's collars or arm or wherever they put their I voted sticker, and that will be her creation. So congratulations to Olivia on that. Very good.
And thank you to Angie Curley for putting that on and getting that going.
That was really a neat idea to do that. To do that very much. But it is getting voting time, Darrell. We all know that Denton County Clerk Angie Curley and her staff are very, very busy getting things ready to go. And, of course, we had sign-ups for county offices, which are still going on, and state offices. That is still in process, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. The state offices, though, they did apply. They did sign up for those at Jeff City.
Right.
But yeah. Oh, yeah. That's still going to. I don't know what the last day of sign up for those offices is now to think about it.
I don't know off the top of my head either.
It'll be another couple or 3 weeks, though.
Right.
So anyway, and then as you say, we got the election coming up here in April. On that April election, there will be the county does have an issue on that ballot. The county 1/10 or 1/4 of a cent sales tax for road and bridge maintenance and improvements. So people ask, what's the deal with that? Well, that was passed originally in 2015. Originally, it had a 7-year sunset on it, and because we wanted a chance. Before it would come up, we wanted a chance to prove, that we would put the money to good use, and we've done a bunch of chip and seal with that. We've worked over several actually, low water bridge, low water crossings,
correct,
and material, and so that's why it's back on there. It come back up, so we had to get it on the April ballot if it was going to continue this year, and. We did not put it back on with a sunset this time because, quite frankly, when you look at the cost of doing business, otherwise, by having that 1/4 cent sales tax, it lets us keep the property tax down to where it's at and not have to raise it. And the feeling was, actually, by us having that on the ballot, actually the county ends up paying a share of that election cost, and it ends up being about $6,000 and some dollars just for this year for that cost. And really the feeling was, what's the point of having to absorb another $6,000 for election costs? The cost of fuel, concrete, diesel, fuel, road graders. We've been talking today with the John Deere dealers on road graders, and you're looking at $300,000, $250,000, $300,000 and more each for new road graders. So, the cost isn't going down. That's for sure.
No.
And the cost of oil for chip and seal, we all have seen what's happened to the cost of oil
how they
recently, and fuel prices, fuel cost. So everything's there. So it's not an increase at all. It's just simply a vote to go ahead and keep and maintain the current 1/4 cent sales tax that we already have for road and bridge.
And that's been key to maintaining the chip and seal. And Darrell, we all know with the price of oil, as you've been talking about, when we last got chip and seal bids, those prices are going to double, if not even go higher than that by the time we get chip and seal bids this year. And your budget for that you had set is either way understated because you had no idea about the price of oil doing what it's doing, and you're not going to be able to do many roads, or you're going to have to change your budget. And I don't know if the county, with the situation still the Department of Revenue, can actually do that.
Right. Yeah, that might be very difficult to do. We're still working on that. Don't know for sure what that amount's going to be yet. So, it just. When we passed that in 2015, at that time there, we were having to make pretty large transfers from general revenue over to road and bridge just to be able to keep the road and bridge fund above water. Without it, it would be pretty tough. And I can tell you, without it, the work on chip and seal roads and some of them things will have to come to a halt, because that's usually a $200,000-$300,000 or more. Wad to bite off every time we try to do that, because it takes, we got I don't know for sure how many miles, somewhere around 35 or 40 miles of chip and seal road. You've got to you really need to get in and redo those every 5, 6, or 7 years at the most. And it's been running somewhere in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 per mile. Every time you go in to redo one, that's probably, as you say, going to go up considerably. So it's just that's just the way it is, and that's the cost of keeping those roads in the shape we'd like for them to be in, and along with just the material and equipment and labor and manpower for all the others.
And as you've mentioned in the past, Darrell, the county budget's created basically late November through December, approved in January, with the idea that the crystal ball is not going to change. I mean, you're basing it upon history, and you're basing it upon what you can see in the immediate future, but I don't think anybody could have seen this. And county budgets just can't be adjusted at a whim. You have to have additional revenues to make those changes. And now it looks like your additional expenses are going to just absolutely be out of sight. How do how do you account for that? You've got to still within the budget that you approved.
Right. Yeah, we do. And, and you're right. It's very difficult in January to predict for the year or plan for the year, but we get it done. But, yeah, some of these increased in fuel costs right now, though, were totally unexpected. And, when you see oil takes off, and the last I heard is $109 or $110 a barrel, probably higher than that now today. I don't know. But at any rate, those things all factor in. So we've got it on the ballot, and that will be one of the things on the ballot. And again, it's not an increase tax, not a new tax, or not an increase, but it's just simply to keep and maintain the one we have.
Very good. Very good. All right, so we also have absentee voting going on right now for the municipal election, which will be held April 5th.
That's right. The municipal election and school board elections and so on. So all that's coming up here April 5th.
So you can vote absentee if you have a reason. You still must have a reason in the state of Missouri. But for those who have not yet registered for that, Darrell, time is running out. You only have till March 9th.
Yep. Yeah. If you're not registered, better get into the clerk's office and get registered next few days.
That's less than a week away.
Yep.
Time is running out. And you can get registered right there at the clerk's office, and they are in the courthouse. Very easy to find right there. I really don't have a lot more,
I got a
but I
couple
know
things.
you've got a couple things, so go ahead.
I will mention that Commissioner Larson, Mowbray, and I did attend the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Plan Update meeting. We have contracted once again with the Merrimack Regional Planning Commission to put these meetings and programs together. The current FEMA Hazard Mitigation Plan we have, it expires somewhere around early or middle of next year of 23.
Yeah.
So you have to have some meetings ahead of time. We need public input into these meetings. Folks come to them. There will be some more, and they'll see and hear the advertising for those meetings coming up. And but we do have to update the plan every 5 years, and it is through that plan that entities can access FEMA funds for the building of tornado safe rooms or shelters and what have you and things. So anyway, we're working on that, and we did attend that first meeting. It was the very first meeting that we had on that just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, right before the snows hit. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and I would mention too, we did just this morning later approved a memorandum of understanding between Missouri and ourselves, and this is an MOU that was sent out for Missouri and various political subdivisions on the opioid settlement proceeds.
Okay.
Been a settlement made on one of those cases, and there's several $100,000 involved in that, going to be distributed amongst all the parties in that. But we got to have a memorandum of understanding between the county and the state before all that can take place. Now, there's money there, but that money, then you have to put some programs together dealing with opioid abuse and trying to work on that. And so we'll be working on that and seeing what we can put together. And I'll know more sometime here in the next month or two as far as what that amount is and when we'll be getting that and what we'll be trying to do as far as a program to address the opioid abuse. So that was a bit of good news.
That is some good news. Yeah, hope to help fight that.
Yep.
Still an issue. People may think COVID-19 and forget about opioids, but they're still very prevalent.
Absolutely. Still a problem. And hopefully we'll see what we can do with this to kind of help that and address that problem. So we got that taken care of. So other than that, I think that kind of catches me up now. Well,
I do want to thank Darrell for coming in a little bit ahead of time and recording this program for us to play during the lunch break for our FFA students, and then we're going to get right back to those interviews here very shortly. But again, we want to thank Darrell for doing this. This program is not free. Darrell does pay for this out of his pocket. We've been doing it for a number of years now, and hope you are taking the information we're providing to you, because you're getting a lot more detail than you would in a newspaper or even on the radio that you just can't buy unless you're at the meetings and you get to hear it firsthand.
Yep, there you go. Well, it is a chance for me to get into a little more detail about what we're doing and what's going on and explain that. I hope folks learned something that was of interest and And I do appreciate the opportunity, Stan. We'll be back here on Friday morning, March the 18th.
There you go.
Let's understand.
Yep.
So, and by the way, the unofficial first day of spring was here just a few days ago.
On Tuesday.
March the 1st. First day of trout season. And for me, that's always the unofficial first day of spring.
Well, I heard that 8-pound, 8-ouncer, Darrell. I was looking for your name, but it wasn't you.
I would like to. I couldn't make it down. I would like to have been there, but it's okay. At least I think they had a great trout opening. They had great weather for it.
They did.
My congratulations to the person who caught the 8-pound trout. I'm still after that rascal. Yeah, but you got to get down there and catch a fish though
There
to
you
get
go.
it. So anyway,
Got to put that line in the water.
Yep. I'm still waiting to hear the first turkey gobble yet this spring. I've been out every morning. I haven't heard it yet, but it'll be happening soon enough.
Very soon.
Then we can call spring here for sure. But at any rate, we'll be back here March the 18th. I do appreciate the opportunity. And until we're back here, I hope every one of you all will be healthy